it up somehow.
Yes, my Straight Dog family, it's time to keep moving on. And in the process, I will extend greetings for a very pleasant night to St. Kitts and Nevis, and a very pleasant night to the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Dog family in the Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora, wherever you are in the world, I know you are on the World Wide Web, so there some of you are in Asia, there's some of you in Africa, there's some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And if you're joining me for the first time, I want to welcome you and trust and hope it won't be your last time. And just to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process try to re-establish our enviable position as being one of the freest countries, if not the freest country in the entire world. We have had some reason to doubt that for some time now, but let's work towards that, my Straight Dog family. It's a program on which we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And for the first timers, we come your way every Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. And I want you to tell the whole world, share this information for the whole world, so we can increase our dialogue with our people wherever you are on the planet. We, as usual, start with our observations in review. It's a time when we highlight the issues we may have broached before, and we do some reflection. We then ask questions in respect of what was accomplished, for example. How has it helped others? What has changed since, and what can be expected next? Also, what we have learned as a people. And our first observation, I wanted to reflect one more time on the disposition, the current state of the Solid Waste Management Corporation. I just saw an article just before coming on social media. I haven't checked the veracity. I haven't even completed reading the reading of the article, but it's in a similar context as we spoke last Monday in relation to the board of directors, the general manager, the chairman, and the secretary, who were all removed, respectively. But today, there's no board appointed. There's no general manager appointed, except that Straight Talk has found out that there is an acting general manager in place. We were also informed that interviews were conducted for the vacant position of the general manager. But one capable individual from Keon, who we are told topped the list of potential candidates, has not found favor with the Labour Party stalwarts, who are of the view that such an appointment should come from the rank and file of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. But meanwhile, there seemed to be some wrangling still ongoing as it relates to the Deputy Prime Minister, who is still demanding, we are told, the return of his brother. But this is strongly rejected by the minister and also the Prime Minister. We can confirm that in a meeting some weeks ago with the truck drivers, the Prime Minister was told in no uncertain terms that they would put their trucks down, and they all threaten strike action if Jeffrey's brother is ever brought back to the Solid Waste Management Corporation. And Prime Minister Joe considered the position of the drivers and also took the position that he did not want strike action at this time in the life of his government. We knew as well there were issues as relates to the doctors and the nurses at JNF and other hospitals, as a result of, we are told, the decision to introduce 12-hour shifts without proper arrangement and proper discussion. But in relation to the Solid Waste Management Corporation, the minister is, however, well advised to appoint the board of directors or ensure that the board of directors is appointed, whatever the legislation says, and have the corporation return to some semblance of governance and stop trying to run this critical institution via a minister's edict or decree, and stop running the government generally like a bar shop. Now, the second observation we wish to address tonight as well is the follow-up to our last episode of Straight Talk, when we made mention of a DJ and talk show host who displayed to the world a .380 semi-automatic pistol in a manner that all who witness this brandishing, no matter what they say, brandishing of this automatic firearm, considered the actions of this DJ and talk show host, to put it mildly, irresponsible, to say the least. Straight Talk has since received a copy of an audio clip which was done by the owner of the radio station. Is an audio copy of an explanation, I should say, by the owner of the radio station, of which we now provide an excerpt without comment.
On Wednesday afternoon, where EK was seen on the stream with a gun. Now, I know that EK has a legally acquired firearm. When EK finished the program, he thought that the cameras were off. He was having a quiet moment looking at his property. He was checking it. There was no one here in the studio at that time. It was himself. He was having what he thought was a quiet moment to do what he was doing. But it so happens that the cameras were on, and so it was, to me, unintended, unintentional, and so I don't feel people are turning it into some big to-do, because it's as I said, I don't think he breached any firearms law.
He has not.
He hasn't breached any law, the Firearms Act.
No.
He has not done anything like that.
My Straight Talk family, we also present without comment an unsolicited legal opinion that reads, and I quote, "Careless display of gun is sufficient for conviction." And this was held in two cases in the Florida region of the United States of America. The first dates back to 1981 in the case Stone versus the state in the Florida 5th DCA. And its caption, "Carelessness is sufficient." And it reads, "It is also not necessary that the exhibition be carried out in an intentional manner. Mere careless display of the firearm or weapon is sufficient to subject the accused to criminal liability." And that's that case, Stone versus the state, 402 SO 2D 1222 1223 of the Florida 5th DCA. The second case refers to case versus the state, 581 SO 2D 612613, also in Florida, the first DCA in 1991. And it's under caption, "Threat Not Required." And it reads, "A defendant may be convicted of improper exhibition for merely carelessly, angrily, or rudely displaying a weapon. It is not necessary that the defendant make a threatening gesture with the weapon in order to be convicted." Those were the findings of these two, in these two cases. As I said, case versus the state in 1991 and Stone versus the state in 1981 in the Florida, both districts of the Florida 1st and 5th, respectively. Again, the foregoing information is being presented without any comment whatsoever. But we just thought we would bring that to you, my Straight Talk family, for ease of getting you to understand the situations that can arise. But again, we present this information without any comment whatsoever. Our third observation, while we await advice from the chairman of the disciplinary committee of the St. Kitts and Nevis Bar Association, in the meanwhile, many opinions have been advanced about the incumbent Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin, who is also the Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, who broke the laws of the Federation, but has to date shown no remorse whatsoever. Right-thinking persons have continued to call for his apology, also for his resignation. The latest being this lady.
I have a problem with the Attorney General. That is still very upsetting to me. If what Patches is saying is true, the Attorney General did not pay Social Security for the lady, a poor lady who came here to make a living. You turn around, you pay it up when you're going to come the Attorney General. And once you come the Attorney General, you stop again, and then when the CBI money is going to be paid, you pay it up. That tells me he's not going to continue to pay. He's not going to pay. He's going to keep lapsing. And I can't help but ask if it's because of who he is. Because I have seen lists of business places and persons in the papers that didn't pay Social Security and they were taken to court. Now we have our Attorney General doing the same thing. People should read the judgment from that matter. I cannot accept this, honestly. How is he then going? You're breaking the law, but you're saying you're going to embarrass people for breaking the law? Something isn't rubbing me right there. But the fact that the man paid it up and lapsed again and paid it up now to when? And then what's going to happen after? This is a poor lady and it was poured one of the tires on his Jeep. Why is she not? Suppose the lady got sick, there's nothing there for her. And people got to look at this.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, just to add though, he actually first paid when he became, or after rather, he was elected president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association on March the 31st, 2021. He made his first payment of arrears in April 2021. Then he went back into arrears for 15 months until August the 13th, 2022, the day before he was sworn in as Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs. Then he went back into arrears just after he became Attorney General and then paid in January of this year, 2023. Notwithstanding all this information, there are some who are trying to run a campaign of alternative facts, according to a good friend of mine who advanced that view, and I concur. But they are trying to run a campaign of alternative facts on behalf of the Attorney General. But they are advancing a very weak, a very poor defense that this was not a case of litigation brought by the Social Security Board, and as such is inconsequential. But that's a real nonsensical argument, with respect, that is so far from the truth and borders on nothing but absurdity. In the matter of the injunction, the court had to make findings of fact as to whether Garth Lucian Wilkin broke the law or not. This was central to determining whether your humble servant would be defaming him if I reveal the said information to the public. If the allegations of breaking the law, for example, were false or untrue, then I would have continued to be injuncted by the court as a means to protect the reputation of Garth Lucian Wilkin. But the court found that he has broken the law and that he broke the law repeatedly. The court also found that a social security payment after the time prescribed by the legislation constitutes a criminal offense whether or not the law is strictly enforced. So it's not about patches, it's about the court. This is what the learned judge, Her Ladyship Tamara Gill, opined. Those offenses carry penalties which include fines and periods of incarceration, in jail, or both, jail and fines. The only thing, therefore, that these alternative facts of defense do is to show, to demonstrate that the Social Security Board did not and has not pursued action against a serial, habitual defaulter. It also shows, as evidenced by the Garth Lucian Wilkin affidavit, that despite the long periods of not paying and the offenses they represented, the Social Security Board never wrote to him demanding payment. Yet even as I speak, there are 54 employers before the court. I submit, he should have been number 55. But in St. Christopher, he comes from the privileged class. The facts are, and people know, that Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin broke the law and he should pay the price.
And I'm saying it loud and clear today. I don't think Garth Wilkin should be, as much as I agreed when they chose him, I think he needs to remove himself from the position. And I'm going to make inquiries because if I can take it to some commission of inquiry, I will. Even though I don't know if it's going to make sense because it's thousands of dollars spent. Lawyers were brought in from all over. And what happened? Nothing. And the fact that this judge made a decision, I mean, people should read the judge's judgment on that. It happened. We're pretending it ain't happened. And he can just walk here and be the attorney general and how we can lock up people who are breaking the law. When you're breaking the law. And people taking it simple. It's not simple. You're depriving this lady of what is rightfully hers. This is a poor person who's trying to make a living in St. Kitts.
Yes, depriving the poor lady. But the fact is, he broke the law.
I was listening to Richie and the way he put this spin and the Attorney General situation. The Attorney General broke law, and he's talking about Social Security has leeway. That is not true. And he must go to the Eastern Caribbean Court website and read the judgment. Patches is not saying anything. That was the judge's order, not Patches. So he must go to that website and read it for himself. He broke the law. Don't care how you twist it, spin it, it cannot be changed. And that thing, that judgment will dog him for the rest of his life.
Yes, it will dog him for the rest of his life. Even though they're trying to withhold it from the Eastern Caribbean Court's website in terms of the judgments. But even some of his supporters concede that he needed to set a better example as the Attorney General.
As the leading person in the country for justice, he should be more, what's the word I'm looking for? He should be more aware of what he's doing and set a better example. Somebody like him should be in a race of Social Security 3, 4, 5 times.
And my Straight Talk family, through all of this, the Prime Minister, who is also Minister with responsibility for the Social Security Board, has not uttered one word. And this, no doubt, has evoked different sentiments from different people, like this one, my Straight Talk family.
You see this thing, everybody's speaking about the Attorney General. I think, hey, there was a case. He been to the court. You know what I'm saying? He lost the case. I can't defend him. He won. You know what I'm saying? The Prime Minister should have come out and really said something about it. But you see, to me, I'll tell you plain up, straight up, the damn island is corrupt. They got a damn corrupt island. Every one of them. Don't care who they be, whether it's whoever. The island is corrupt. And the people them got to see that and clean it up. The ombudsman, he corrupt too. I'm telling you, the damn thing is upside down there.
Those are the views, the passionate views of citizens of this country. And I do concur. The AG is misplaced at this point in time. Those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And as I said, we still await a response from the disciplinary committee of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association. And we'll keep you updated. I now crave your kind indulgence, my Straight Talk family, to discuss the substantive matter tonight as part of my thesis, or as my thesis, which I have entitled Smart Agriculture, Food Security, or Money on Trees. And that is what the new Minister of Agriculture promised our farmers in St. Kitts. But when this would become a reality is everybody's guess. My Straight Talk family, crop farmers are crying because of monkeys and weeds, while livestock farmers cannot find the vet to advise owners on the proper care and health of the animals. Straight Talk understands that the veterinarian has been sent on long leave, Dr. Peso, thus putting the health and well-being of animals at risk. The Federation's annual food import bill still hovers at about $145 million. However, the budget to help introduce this smart agriculture stands at a meager $25 million. That may sound small to us, but say what you like. To Minister Duggins, it is more than adequate to satisfy the plans for agriculture in fiscal year 2023, which is designed, according to him, to ensure that St. Kitts Nevis will be part of CARICOM's conversation when it speaks to its successes by the year 2025. Whenever that conversation is had, the minister assures us that St. Kitts and Nevis will be a glowing example for the Caribbean. And this is his budget.
Budget for 2023, which stands at $25,143,820, is designed to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis will be part of CARICOM's conversation when they speak to the successors of their 25 agenda. And as your Minister of Agriculture, I stand committed to ensure that when that conversation is had, that St. Kitts and Nevis will be a glowing example.
Now, when I heard the minister, his comment made about a glowing example piqued my interest, because I had recently scanned the World Bank report, I believe it was of 2020, which warned about the growing global population and changing diets that are driving up the demand for food. It further warned that production is struggling to keep up as crop yields level off in many parts of the world. Ocean health declines, and natural resources, including soils, water, and biodiversity, are stretched dangerously thin. This World Bank report found that nearly 690 million people, or 8.9% of the global population, are hungry, up by nearly 60 million in 5 years. The food security challenge will therefore only become more difficult, as the world would need to produce about 70% more food by 2050 to feed an estimated 9 billion people. The challenge is intensified by agriculture's extreme vulnerability to climate change. Climate change's negative impacts are already being felt in the form of increasing temperatures, weather variability, shifting agro-ecosystem boundaries, invasive crops and pests, and more frequent extreme weather events. On farms, climate change is reducing crop yields, the nutritional quality of major cereals, and lowering livestock productivity. Substantial investments in adaptation will be required to maintain current yields and to achieve production and food quality increases to meet demand. The problem also works in reverse, as agriculture is a major part of the climate problem. It currently generates 19 to 29% of total greenhouse gases emissions. Without action, that percentage could rise substantially as other sectors reduce their emissions. Additionally, 1/3 of food produced globally is either lost or wasted. Addressing food loss and waste is critical to helping meet climate goals to reduce stress on the environment. So where does St. Kitts and Nevis stand in the scheme of all these things? Given that prognosis, or rather that pronouncement, which must be considered as an authoritative statement coming from the World Bank. The Jew Labor Administration, remember, was introduced to the country as a serious team and one filled with experts. A team of experts is what was introduced to the country. This is nothing we fabricated, and that's not the character of Straight Talk, as we always bring you the facts from the horse's mouth, to use a colloquial term. And this came from the mouth of the Prime Minister.
I'm tremendously proud of this team. This team is filled with experts in various fields. Any field you might call, there's an expert here, somebody who is well versed in that area, even more versed than me, and that's a good thing. So if I talk about sustainable development, you have Dr. Joya Clark. If I speak to youth and women affairs, you have Honorable Iselin. If I speak about small business and entertainment and agriculture, Honorable Samuel Duggins, well established. If I speak about energy and engineering and so forth, the Honorable Conwys Maynard. If I speak about the law, it's a given, or our AGS. When I speak about the tourism product and the advancement of labor laws and so forth, we have our learned honorable who is a lawyer. When I speak about experience in government, we have our senior minister. When I speak about education, and when you talk about empowering of the youth and community development, we have our deputy prime minister, the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley. And so this team is a serious team.
Now, my Straight Talk family, this has to be exceptional, because I believe that it is the first time in our history that we have ministers of government who each possess a comprehensive and authoritative knowledge of and or the skills or the training in the particular areas or portfolios or subjects to which they have been appointed. Perhaps that is why in their new day and better way, everything they deliver is smart. Yes, we hear of smart housing. We hear of a smart hospital. Yes, we hear of all these smart things.
We believe that a modern and fully equipped hospital with efficient trained staff is long overdue. We are seeking to construct a smart hospital. This is a necessity, not a choice.
And we have also heard about smart agriculture that involves a project of greenhouses, my Straight Talk family.
We have designed a wonderful project. And I must say, I give some credit to my good friend and member opposite, who would have started in his own way to install some greenhouse. And we would have seen some improvement subtly in that approach. I also must give credit to the former Labor Administration, who would have designed and built out a project of some, I understand, almost 30 plus greenhouses. But in studying all of these projects, Madam Speaker, I recognize a significant flaw. And that flaw is that our country now has some near 40 structures, but only 4 to 7 actively going. And so we've taken all of that knowledge and all of that data and formulated a plan.
Of 40 greenhouses, only 4 actually are operational. That's the word coming from the minister. And I will address this tonight because our Minister of Agriculture, who is a farmer, I'm told, has not only promised smart agriculture, but he has also promised money on trees. But there is an obvious disconnect, it seems, between the ministers, or the minister, beg your pardon, and the farmers. What are the farmers saying, though? Has the minister communicated his ambitious plans to the farmers? Did the minister engage the farmers about the prospects of picking money from marijuana trees? My Street Dog family, did he? Is a question we ask.
Marijuana industry, as we have heard, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we have been dragging at a snail's pace in getting involved. And I could not understand for the life of me why. Literally growing money on trees. But yet somehow, we don't want to participate. But I dare say, that era is over. And it's now a new day. And a better way. So in 2023, expect a vibrant, thriving marijuana industry. Literally growing money on trees.
A big joke. But obviously not. My Street Dog family, he has not engaged the farmers about the prospects of picking money from marijuana trees. Obviously not. Else the farmers would not have been waiting for the herbicides to control the weeds and bush on their farms. And that's what's coming from the farmers themselves.
We have to start producing more food. Imagine during the height of the COVID, when the then Prime Minister was asked about
the farms, they're full of bush. And nothing the farmer could do. You got, some farmers got 10, 20, 30 acres. What you going to do, weed it? There is no supplies to take care or assist the farmers in the weed. It is serious. Agriculture department has nothing. The only thing they're selling up there is the donation of fertilizer from Morocco.
My Street Dog family, that's the situation complained by the farmers. But that's about marijuana and money on trees we referred to. But what about food security, my Street Dog family? I made mention earlier of the 2020 World Bank report. But I always remember one of my lecturers in university, Professor Yoland, who never stopped instructing us to get up to date. Get up to date, he'd always say. And I did. So I can report that the heads of the FAO, IMF, the World Bank Group, the World Food Program, and the World Trade Organization released a third joint statement just over 2 weeks ago, on February the 8th, 2023 to be exact, with calls to prevent a worsening of the food and nutrition security crisis, and outlined further urgent actions that are required to 1. Rescue hunger hotspots, 2. Facilitate trade, improve the functioning of markets, and enhance the role of the private sector, and 3. Reform and repurpose harmful subsidies with careful targeting and efficiency. Countries, it said, should balance short-term urgent interventions with long-term resilience efforts as they respond to the crisis. St. Kitts and Nevis is part of the Caribbean, which is an import-dependent region that continues to feel the socio-economic strain of COVID-19, which was compounded by the conflict in Ukraine. The number of people estimated to be facing moderate to severe levels of food insecurity in the English-speaking Caribbean rose by an alarming 46% over the last 6 months. Nearly 4.1 million people, or 57% of the population, now face food insecurity, according to a recent survey conducted by CARICOM and the United Nations World Food Programme. Leaders in the region are actively engaging with decision makers across all relevant sectors to identify solutions for increasing food production and reducing import dependency within the region in order to reduce the cost of food. What is our leader doing is a fair question. And I played this soundbite in error, but I'll continue it, my straight talk family. What is our leader doing?
Food, he said the boats are coming. If persons had the opportunity to listen to the budget debate, Minister of Agriculture talked about shade houses, spoke about helping farmers to make sure they produce food. So we are looking at it to make sure that we just cannot depend on, because you can only cut to some extent. We are importing inflation. And what we have to do in this time to make sure that people can eat and live, we will do. It will cost a lot of money, which I will level with the people with. Because when we temper the cost of living, it is because the government has to invest a significant amount of money. And we have to appreciate that as well.
My straight talk family, no matter what the Prime Minister said, the boats are still coming. Ocean King was here on Monday. It comes every Monday. Tropical Shipping was here on Tuesday. It comes every Tuesday. And the CGM, when it's on time, it comes on Wednesdays. So nothing has been achieved in the area of food security under the Jew Labor Administration. The focus of the minister, as we must have gleaned, is on greenhouse villages and marijuana. Was this plan discussed with the farmers and with the farmers' cooperatives? It's a very good question we must ask.
And that plan is to now create greenhouse villages, as we call it. And these greenhouse villages will see us building a series of greenhouse structures, complete with storage facilities, complete with technical support, water storage, and of course, clean energy. And these structures will be then utilized by our farmers. And where this brings added benefit is that unlike in the past where these were placed on specific farms, and if that farmer had fell out of interest, then you can't do anything with that structure. If there's ever a farmer moves on into a different capacity, that structure could be reassigned to a new farmer. And the objective still met of productivity. Because at the end of the day, we are here for food and nutrition security.
The minister outlined, or did not rather, or has not outlined the true capital of the marijuana trees in St. Kitts and Nevis. He has spoken to the global industry. And when I heard him, I reflected on a discussion I heard while attending a meeting some years ago, when Comrade Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, spoke to then President Obama, spoke about the potential of the Caribbean as it relates to the marijuana industry. And I always recall when President Obama looked up, he was taking his notes copiously. His left-handed. He looked up. He paused. And he responded, very simple terms. And he said this, and I quote, "Whatever the Caribbean can do, the United States of America can do it better." And when you look at the trend across the United States of America, it reflects that cannabis is now legal in some form in 33 states. And there are more changes over the horizon. Most notably, the entire West Coast, all of New England, and even Florida have heeded the call of the people for freedom of choice and safe access to clean cannabis. That's where the money on trees you will find. It's in the USA. Since 2016, revenue from cannabis has almost doubled in the United States of America. And the pros who know economics, say this, will continue to be a growth industry as cannabis revenues in 5 years are projected to reach over $20 billion a year nationwide. That's where you'll find the money on the trees. Whatever the Caribbean can do, including St. Kitts, the United States will do it plenty better. So let's talk not about the marijuana right now. Let's talk about the sweet potatoes. What about the sweet potatoes and other crops? What about livestock? When will the minister meet with all farmers and farmers' cooperatives? These are the questions that ought to be answered and answered forthwith. Straight Talk is following a serious breakdown in communication between the Ministry of Agriculture and the farmers on St. Kitts. A serious breakdown, my Straight Talk family.
If you look at the administration, look at what's going on in agriculture. The farmers are crying out daily for chemical herbicide. They're crying out daily.
Yes, the farmers are crying out. But perhaps the Ministry of Agriculture, and in particular the minister, can restart an amicable dialogue with all the cooperatives before the sweet potato melee. The sweet potato melee, my Straight Dog family, is coming soon. And it'll be well advised if the minister and his ministry officials can meet the cooperatives, my people.
Boy, look like me sweet potato then coming in time, boy. For sweet potato melee.
Sweet potato melee? What do you mean sweet potato melee, Clark? But where you live, boy? Where you know St. Kitts farmers stop a big sweet potato melee up the upper strip? Where you live? When?
Man, it's gonna happen on the 6th of April from 9 in the morning till 6 in the afternoon.
Keep up the way of your sweet potato. And we're going to add value to all of our sweet potato. We're going to have sweet potato wedges, sweet potato conky, sweet potato pudding, sweet potato cookies, sweet potato pumpkins, everything.
And don't forget the drinks. I mean, wait, all the hotels and restaurants, even the bakeries, to take part.
So what, if I come, you mean that we could sample though?
Yes, man. You got a load of things up there to eat and drink, you know. So you just come along and bring your friends and your neighbors. Sweet potato melee, 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 sweet potato melee.
Guess sweet potato melee is going to be on the 6th of April. I put that plug in for the cooperatives. And that just may be the only opportunity available for this important ministry to put St. Kitts and Nevis in a state of self-sufficiency in agriculture. But it must start with dialogue amongst all stakeholders if we are going to introduce smart agriculture. And if you are going to ensure the transformation that's been spoken about.
Not just to have fancy structures. So again, our greenhouse villages are, for me, a wonderful idea that I am excited about for 2023 budget. And these villages, if there's any information that you may know about greenhouse and hydroponic farming as well, is that, one, it is water efficient. And so we'll be saving water by farming through this process. It is also space efficient. So we utilize less land space for more productivity. And it is also time efficient and, again, resilient against weather, because the greenhouses now can withstand up to Category 5 storms. So imagine having a hurricane and the next day you're outside to produce.
My Street Dog family.
Do you have to go through rationing for weeks waiting for the seas to calm and a boat to return? Transformation is coming to agriculture.
My Street Dog family, forgive me for that. That transformation cannot come without dialogue. We must communicate with the farmers. We must communicate with all the stakeholders if we are going to introduce smart agriculture, food security, or money on trees. That's my story tonight, my Street Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will entertain your calls and your emails. I'll open the lines any moment now. And the numbers are 869-663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. They both have WhatsApp access, I always remind you. Our email address, for those who like to use the cloak of anonymity, it's Straight Talk Patches. That's STRAIGHT TALK PATCHES @gmail.com. I always like to implore you, I'll open the lines, they are going now. I always like to implore you, though, to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourself. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. It's 1 minute before 9. I go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hey, family patches, what's going on?
I am peaceful, my brother. What's going on with you?
Agriculture today. The minister are missing or what? He's still in Dubai.
The minister went to Dubai?
Yes, he went to Dubai to get smart agriculture in St. Kitts.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, I hope when he gets the message, he will come and see the farmers. Because if he wants
Yes, he needs to meet with the farmers there because he's not meeting with the farmers them in Sadler's Pass and go on beside you just in number 4, what happened? Only number 4 for him.
What you think about the greenhouses though? Is it a great idea? As a farmer?
Well, he said that they could instruct category 5. You sure?
Okay.
But he said, but look, he have greenhouses and he stopped the lettuce when he come a minister.
Okay. But in terms of a farm that has some farms with 25 acres and 30 acres and so on, would it spread over the entire farm, the greenhouse, or just parts of it?
Just part of it, because that means you got to be a big structure.
Okay. Okay.
And it will take up a lot of material to do that.
Okay. But
it's mostly best to put it on like a half acre and an acre to put the greenhouse. Not on a 25 acre.
So you still have the traditional farming though?
Yes.
Okay.
But they said two vets gonna come in sometime next week. So.
Oh, they're bringing vets from overseas?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. But
they should wait until the vets them come in to get rid of Dr. Henry.
Oh. So he's actually gone into retirement?
Yes.
Okay, I got it now.
They're not to get rid of Dr. Henry and you don't have no vet.
Okay.
Because people, sheep and goat and pigs need to look after, and cattle.
Yeah, the animal.
Since January, this is not April, I need to know.
Okay, my brother, but it's good news that the vets are coming, so we trust that they will come in time to ensure the health of the animals. Okay? Thanks for your input, my dear brother.
Yeah.
It's 2 minutes. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. It's 2 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. We go straight back to the lines. I think I disconnected the caller in error. Caller, I'm awfully sorry about that. Can you please call back right away? That was an error on my part. My dexterity of my fingers. I wanted to place that other call on hold, but I in fact inadvertently disconnected your caller. It's now 9:03. You have just joined me. We looked at our observations and review. Yes, you can also entertain comments on that. But our main thesis tonight is on smart agriculture, food security, money on trees. As the good minister suggests that the marijuana industry is where the direction in which he wants to send the country as it relates to growing money on trees. And this is what he said.
Marijuana industry, as we've heard, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we have been dragging at a snail's pace in getting involved. And I could not understand for the life of me why. Literally growing money on trees. But yet somehow. But I dare say, that era is over. And it's now a new day. And a better way. So in 2023, expect a vibrant, thriving marijuana industry. Literally growing money on trees.
Yes, literally growing money on trees. Caller, thank you for holding your line. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller? Okay, we seem to be having a difficulty with that call, but it's now 5 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Our lines are open, my Straight Dog family, and the farmers are in the spotlight tonight as we go right back to the lines. Call you live.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Ian Patches Loybud. Hold on here.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, sorry about that, Patches.
Good evening, my brother Culture. Good evening, the ombudsman.
Okay. I am a good ombudsman.
I'm serious about that. You'll make a very good one, you know.
Okay.
All we got to do is get your mobile, you know.
Right, that's right.
You know, you'll be able to mediate from an objective standpoint, and I'm sure you'll make sound recommendations as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I don't mind a joke with that.
Yes.
Well, let me say first, a pleasant good evening to all the listeners and viewers on Straight Talk tonight. That's my manners for everybody. That is when the next Olympic comes around, I think we're in for a gold medal, St. Kitts, in talking. Because we do a lot of talking and less actions. Here all them talk, what the boy from Monkey Hill, the man from Monkey Hill in the middle, all them talk he got about smart. Every one of the ministers got smart this and smart this and smart that.
True.
Well, he really got some smart people. He got a smart social security commitment evader. That's a smart one. And he now as the leader, he is a smart leader too. Because he condoning wrong with some of his ministers. And we, the populace, we are demanding that the leader of the government speak out on wrong things and make the what do you call him there again? The Attorney General, make him step down. Because what he has done is totally wrong. He's supposed to be the leader of the justice system. And imagine he break the law, which other four persons they got in court break the same law. But why is it he must not join the 54 people them and it's the same law he break? And he's supposed to be showing example that the Prime Minister of the country, the leader of the country, he need to make the Attorney General step down. Otherwise, we will demand that he, the Prime Minister, the leader, you step down too. Because let me tell you something, Patches. I don't know if you remember in the 70s, early 70s, there was a minister in Mr. Bratcher's government, and he went to the Virgin Islands on some kind of business, and he wanted to buy a vessel, a boat, to come back to St. Kitts to compete with the government boat. And Mr. Bratcher decided, no, that's a conflict of interest. And Mr. Bratcher tell him, hey, you got to go, Turn him away. Mr. Bratcher making a joke. Because Mr. Bratcher tell him that you are wrong and you will not stay in this government with that conflict of interest that you committed. So we are calling on the Prime Minister of this country and the Federation, stand up for what is right. You are a leader. You're supposed to show example. You're not supposed to take side with your people when they're wrong because they are your people. Come on. He evade paying the Social Security money and talk about he paid in 3 batches. What batch? Enough for that. This government continue to victimize and punish people, even people who are working for their own self. The latest person they victimize is Seabrook's wife up there by the airport roundabout, where she is selling, plying her trade. Tell her she can't stay there, move from there, because she breaking the law. breaking the law to sell? Come on. Who breaking the law? It's people who blocking up the street that pedestrian and vehicle can't pass properly. Those are what you call law breaking. Not Mr. Brooks up there by the airport. But they went up there to make a move because of who does hang around there and give the lady sale, patronage the woman business. They're not labor. They're publicly known who they are. And so therefore, anybody who not supporting him and he labor government, that is what he's going to do to victimize them. But I'm going to tell him this. We see what's happening globally. Landslide, oil slide, flood, all going to happen. And when happen up in the north or above we head, it going to happen down on the ground. Down on the ground. Do good and good going to follow you. When you do bad, bad going to still follow you. And that is the time they say people walk over you. But nobody walk over you. What they sow, they reap. Patches will come back because we got a lot of things to talk tonight here. With them wicked people who talk about the name government and victimizing people, mashing up the country. I'll come back, Patrick. Thank you very much. So long.
Thank you very much, my Street Talk family. Let's go back to the line. Thank you, caller, for holding. You're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Hot up in the name of our great African ancestors, especially Queen Nzinga and King Garvey. A blessed evening, my beloved brother. How are you and the family?
Peaceful, my brother. Family's fine. How are you and your family?
Good, man. Everything I beloved.
Young
Give
lion.
praise and thanks. Yes. Now, my beloved brother, let me ask you two questions. Have the so-called Bar Association respond to you as yet? And have that mulatto boy, the 21 days has come and passed? Did he respond to you?
Well, he didn't have to respond. The lawyers are in discussion with that particular issue.
Okay. What about the so-called Bar Association?
No, I haven't received responses yet, no.
But it's a shame and a disgrace. You see, that's why people have no respect, most people, rightful thinking people, for the quote-unquote law, beloved, because this so-called old boys network and some girls as of lately network, when their members do anything, they close them out. And the mulatto boy father, who used to have everything to speak about on his radio station, where is he? Have he said anything about his son? No, that's not nothing that I heard about. Correct me if I'm wrong. He had more to talk for decades, for years, I must say. Over decades, he been talking all kind of commentary on his radio station about this and that. And I can hear him more righteous than anyone else on planet Earth. Where's he now? Have he lost his mind? Have he lost his tongue? Can he speak when it comes to his own son? It's a shame and a disgrace. And the Bar Association should be ashamed of themselves and their members. Them are the hierarchy of the so-called Bar Association. And the members, where are the lawyers who pride themselves of being all upright and this and that, and they speak about good law and good governance? Where are they? Not one of their members. Where are they? Come on, speak up. Speak up. That's why you all cannot represent people in the court of law. Because when it comes to your own, quote unquote own, you all ain't have anything to say. If for someone else who are not a lawyer, you all will have all kind of things to say. You all being hypocrites to the core, and you all need to speak up. Cause no one gonna have no respect for you all when it comes to an issue like this. No one. Speak up, man. Where are these lawyers who call themselves lawyers, upful citizen, upright citizen? Where are they now? How come they are not speaking out about this issue? It's a shame and a disgrace. And that boy from Monkey Hill is masquerading as the Prime Minister. He can fire that mulatto boy at any time. Where is he? Come on. Do something. And do something now. And we are the people in St. Kitts, Nevis, Leah Megan O'Wally, who said that for this, that, stand up for this and stand up for that. How come they are not demonstrating against this boy on a daily basis until he resigns? We can't have people in high places doing wrong. And when ordinary people, financially poor people, people with no financial status, do something wrong, it's fire and brimstone. And the so-called law come down on them. But when people who have money, power and authority, like Churchill said, when they have power and authority, they don't give a blank about anybody. No, man, them days done. So let's start the demonstration. One person, two persons, every day. Show up by where his office is before he come to work, and when he's leaving, demonstrate, show him you cannot give these guys no pass. Because if anybody else, they break the law, they will come down fire and brimstone. If was a poor person, beloved.
Okay, my brother.
So, beloved, we must do the right thing at all times. And let me say, this so-called Minister of Agriculture seems like he on Comedy Central. They always laughing what they got, laughing Titus. It's like it's something that's in them, because they don't know what they are saying or doing, so they just get everything as a joke. Nothing wrong. I am for, you got to feed people first. You must feed people first and foremost. And then you use herb for medicinal purposes. And then whatsoever other money comes, let it come. But you must feed people. You must feed people first and foremost. And let me say, brother, from since everybody know my thing for Bratcher, that I have no respect for Bratcher for what he did to the Rastafari movement and the his political opponents, brother. But that's for another time, beloved. But from since his days, just give me 30 seconds, brother. You haven't seen agriculture. Agriculture like a buried. And we got to do something, because we see what happened during COVID. When I was calling for $75 million on the team unity, I tell Dr. Harris stop too, and then Minister of Agriculture, Brother Hamilton, brother. And then see what COVID thing, then everybody start rushing. But we got to feed ourselves, man, first and foremost. And then we'll have stop spending all this money on health while our people is healthy. And like you always say, brother, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. Brother, I've said a lot. Continue to listen, keep up the great works. Pan-Africanism our perish. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my brother, Nabu. Never out of words for one moment. Patches, I listened, or let me take this call before I go to those emails. Caller, You're live.
Good night.
Hello, caller.
Okay.
My dear.
Why the people them there eating up themselves? They got big labor meeting in New York, Brooklyn.
Uh-huh.
It's all about the people them out there, and I ain't about we.
Yeah.
It's not about we.
Yes.
They need to wake up and go turn back to Timothy.
Yes, they gave us a government and they flew away.
Ah?
They gave us a government and flew back home.
Oh.
Yes. The overseas vote.
Yeah.
Flew back overseas, yes.
They're all about the people out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the foolish people here. Just here making themselves a fool and ain't doing what they're supposed to do. They went and do the wrong thing, now they're balling. Okay?
Yes, my dear. You're so correct. Thanks for your intervention. But keep hope alive. Keep hope alive, my dear. Keep hope alive.
Yeah.
Once we have life, there's hope.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good night.
Good night, my dear. Good night. Thanks for your contribution to tonight's show. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hello, good night.
Good night, sir.
How are you, Ambassador?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Good to hear you.
Likewise.
I want to say I am in total support of your thesis.
Thank you.
And in that, agriculture has always been something that I believe is an industry that can be game changer in this country. And I'm not that in CARICOM, to be honest. Because when you look at our food import bill across CARICOM countries, it is absolutely appalling, the level of import that we do. But more to here at home here in St. Kitts and Nevis, our import bill is at 140 million. And the urban agenda of CARICOM to get CARICOM countries to cut their food import bill by about 25%, which means that if we should comply by 2025, we should be able to cut our import bill by about 35 million a year, 35 million annually. But with the look of how things are going, I don't think that we'll be able to achieve that in any time soon.
True.
Because it is obvious that there are challenges in agriculture. It's obvious that the farmers are facing certain challenges. But the reality is that we have never really valued agriculture. Agriculture has always been at the last resort in many Caribbean countries. The farmers were always neglected. They were seen as just people who were just planting. They have never seen agriculture as an industry. And when you look at the hotel sector, particularly St. Kitts and Nevis is considered a tourism mecca in the Eastern Caribbean belt. And if you're going to be involved heavily in tourism, then you must have linkages. And one of that linkages is your agricultural industry.
Yep.
And so you must now look at what can you produce for your tourism industry. If you're not able to supply all of your demands locally, but if you can keep some of that foreign exchange that is leaving the country to purchase food in regards to the tourism industry, then you can solve some of those things. The proposed greenhouses will be able to add to some of that. In the reduction, in the greenhouses, there are certain things because of a controlled environment that you're able to do. And so I believe that going forward, that is going to be a very good initiative. If and when it comes on stream, that's the other thing. Now, I want to raise another point in relation to, because I was monitoring the radio throughout the week. Oftentimes when I do have chance, I listen to talk shows because we get a sense of what's happening in the country. And it seems as if this matter with the age is not going anywhere. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And you know what really upsets me and annoys me, Ambassador, is that we have a sitting PM who apparently doesn't have the moral fortitude. In some other places, I would have used a different word, but does not have the moral fortitude nor the testicular fortitude to say to the AG that you are wrong. And I am asking that you step aside and allow my cabinet to function. It seems as if, for some reason, the AG has some control on how the PM operates. Because if you were found by a court of law to be in breach of your payment to Social Security, which the court concludes in its judgment that your action, even though you remedied the situation at a point, that you still committed a criminal action.
Sure.
And you have this man representing the country at the highest level in terms of legal affairs. And then when people speak this way, it seems as if people are political. People are told that you are being political, you don't like the AG, you're being this, but it is not a matter of that, it's a matter of principle.
Yes.
Were the AG, was it, if it was a case that the AG under immunity or under the leadership of Dr. Harris had committed such an offense, I can tell you, I'll be the very first to say it was wrong. So we cannot have, our views cannot be subjective and cannot be dependent on who operates in the position. And you know what is troubling for me is that you have a prime minister who now, particularly I have the greatest level of respect for Cuba. I've been to Cuba many a times. I still have good friendships in Cuba. And to be a PM who and represent a party is supposed to be a party of socialist views, and views are more aligned in the socialist thinking, that you have now had somebody who is from a capitalist class, who you are defending. So it is now the proletariat is defending the bourgeoisie.
That's so correct.
When have we arrived at this situation? And of blessed memory, I'm sure that the Honorable Llewellyn Bradshaw, national hero, is turning in his grave to see what has happened to his great party. Because we are defending the indefensible. The man has committed an error. Do the honorable thing and resign. If you want to appoint him to a board in the future, if you want to have him in a different capacity, there's no issue in that. But he cannot continue to serve the country in a legal capacity when he has breached the laws of the country. What did his oath of office say? I will uphold and defend the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis.
And the law.
So the fact is, I will give somebody else a chance, but I'm really passionate about this issue, and I believe that the Honorable Prime Minister, who is no Prime Minister, needs to look at this issue. Will you sacrifice your political will, your political capital for one individual who has committed an error and who has refused to even admit that this error was done not knowing, but was done consciously? Because you do something one time, it's a mistake. But if you do 2 times, it is other. It's a conscious action.
Yes, 3 times. Yes.
Anyway, Ambassador, you have a good night, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. I can feel your passion, and as you said, he not only broke the law once, he broke it 3 times. He broke the law repeatedly, and that is what the court found. And that is really egregious. And as you said, a prime minister who has no moral fortitude to stand up and say to the country that my AG has no moral authority to be guiding our legislative agenda in Parliament, having broken the law. And no matter what you said, who did it or who did not do it, the fact is, it is wrong. And two wrongs can never make a right. Let me dispense of some of these emailers. My emailers, I have not forgotten you. I should try to dispense of these emails as many as possible. What am I doing here? I seem to have lost them. Beg your pardon. Oh, what am I doing here? My Shwezok family, it's 9:30. Right at the bottom of the hour. In the event you have just joined me, I say welcome. We're looking at smart agriculture, food security, or money on trees. And this email reads, let me see where I'm at. Patches, I listened last week where you enumerated the many outstanding, significant, colossal projects that have been attributed to you during your one term in government. I then paused and wondered if I heard right. Yes, I heard right, and concluded that Patches has undersold himself, because the most fundamental projects of all these you delineated, you did not mention. Sharing half of your monthly salary with your constituents. There was no better project than this, especially in these hard financial situations. Now that well has dried up, they are crying out. For one person said to me that when Patches was in government and she was short on her bills payments, she could have shut her eye and walked find Patches for assistance, and he always helped her. When I asked if she tried asking Jeffrey for help, she said to me, I would never ever go back to he. For he insisted one time after the elections, I asked him to help me with $100, and he said we beg too much and must work for what we want. Reads this email. This other email reads, I was so bemused the other day when Dwyer was on a radio program and Mr. Willie Liber, the former CEO of the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, a man who knows the ins and outs about all the Frigate Bay lands. Mr. Liburn has the capacity to take anyone on and point out the area of land that belongs to them. So when Dwyer came in to the program and made his usual ridiculous, false, and misleading comments, and Willie Liburn challenged him and had him fumbling to find an answer, the host, like all of us realized Dwyer was in an embarrassing position and saved him. The host cut off Mr. Liburn, which was very disappointing and intolerable. Dwyer was ashamed that he became infuriated and belligerent and said the caller was trying to besmirch his character. What nonsense Dwyer talking when he fully well knows he has a very bad character? Stop fooling yourself. Dwyer reads that email. Caller, I want to thank you for holding. You're live. Hello, caller.
Patches, good night.
My brother Jam Down, good night. How art thou?
I'm all right, my brother. Patches.
Mm-hmm.
We at the Court of Conscience want to put the Honorable Prime Minister on the spot because government documents in Dubai must not go uncounted for. He had to come and tell us something about Kate Woodley and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. When Vance Emery was alive, I approached Vance in the Court of Conscience in the Focus and asked him how the standing war when the cabinet appointed him to go to Dubai to see what's going on over there. Vance told me when he reached to Dubai, not even one supporting document in Dubai in the office. An empty office. And you going to tell me that man was in charge of the affairs of this country selling passports. And up to now he ain't pick it. And God is saying he don't shame and he ain't shaming he yet. Well, how you going to shame other people and you can't shame he? That is this ain't supposed to dead just so, you know. This is not supposed to dead just so. The Prime Minister got to ask he about these things. Money was involved in Dubai. They have to ask him some questions. Otherwise, you can't lock up nobody for nothing. This is very, very serious, my brother. And it's a big talk in the country. People want to know, and they're going to come tell us. The woman was running all over the world, from West Africa to East Africa, Malaysia and Cuba. But all of them share up in thinking. No media, no journalists, none of them say nothing. When the court of conscience have journalists, and we will investigate. You understand? This thing is over. This man took up South Firearm, the best beach where we came with tourism, and give it to a shot. Give it to a shot. Now we taxing on them. Like a finding the face all the way over Dubai. All the way over.
Jam down.
Yes, Patrick.
I want to be cautious with that comment. We cannot verify that anybody gave at the shop the beach. So let's be cautious with that. Okay?
But Patrick, Patrick, how is it people can operate on the beach?
Yeah, but that doesn't
how
say...
we used to operate on the beach?
But that doesn't say anybody gave him. I understand what you're saying, right? But
yeah, but this just this week, Patrick, here and the coach ship over there, and the beach closed down, and security telling you can't go on the beach.
No security can tell you jam down on me they can't on the beach, because all beaches are public.
Yeah, but these things is born in the shoes. You got vendors can't even operate over there.
Yeah, but
vendors cannot operate over there, and these things wrong.
Our beach is our public beaches. And nobody can stop you jam down on me from going on the beach. When
you reach somebody's side, from here, they're telling you can't go down there, you know.
That's impossible. I do never believe that. But I'll take your word.
That is terrible.
That's impossible.
These things is born in issues in the country, and citizens is concerned, and we have to ask questions.
Right, and
we have to ask questions.
Tell your people that all beaches are public. Nobody can stop you from going on the beach.
Robert Bratcher don't straighten that.
He can tell you don't sit in his chairs. He can tell you don't sit in his chairs, but he can't tell you don't sit on the beach.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on, Patrick. They go there to spend all kind of rumors on the man, and the man run the country better than them. The man run the country better than Denzel, and these men here, you run the country better than them. You run the country better than them. I just hope they carry back this little country in the IMF, you know. I just hope they steal this country back to the IMF. Thank you. You have a good night.
Have a good night as well, my dear brother. And again, just for clarification, a straight talk, I cannot verify that anybody gave any beach to Mr. Sharp. And I can also say that all beaches are public, and no one can stop you from going and walking on the beach and sitting on the beach and swimming on the beach. So do not be intimidated, I can assure you. Nato is my friend. I respect him highly, but I can say that he can tell you not to sit in his chairs, but he cannot tell you not to walk on the beach or sit on the beach. It's not acceptable. But again, Straight Talk cannot verify and would not support that view that anyone gave him the beach. I think it's high time, Patches, that the opposition political parties in the Federation call for the resignation of Mark Brantley as opposition leader. For he's not doing the job he's being paid for. That salary is being paid and collected under false pretenses by the so-called leader of the opposition. Where in the world you hear prime minister, presidents, premiers, and chief ministers and their opponents and opposition leaders are friends and working together? Reads this email. It is impossible, but as we always say, only in St. Christopher, if Mark was not so greedy, gluttonous, selfish, and bad-minded, he would have recommended Sean to be the leader, or even give Sean the privilege of choosing the opposition senator for Pam. But you see, Mark has no use for Pam and petitions. He is a self-serving secessionist, reads this email. This other email reads, my Straight Talk family, I was in conversation with the permanent secretary Patches, and he told me the government was to pay a double salary this year. Mark's emolument, that is, his salary would be over $80,000. I was amazed and asked how it was possible. And he started to calculate, beg your pardon, and said he is getting 2 monthly salary already, and with this novel role as opposition leader will carry him to over 80,000. When I looked at the pace in astonishment, he smiled and said, "You think them fellows easy?" That's not correct, I would say. I read it, but I do not believe that is a fact. Nonetheless, my Straight Talk family. Patches, good evening. I am back yet again because this Labour government think they are taking us for fools. Imagine going for 2 months since Congress promised the staff at the technology department that he would come and sit with them and have a meeting, and to date he has not shown up. Congress, the staff is disgruntled. Your auntie, who is still your permanent secretary, is causing this. Congress, I want you to know that you are going good by ignoring the staff at the technology department, because if you don't know about the workers there, I bet you will learn about them sooner than you think. You and Drew your auntie there behaving as if she is God and cannot be moved when the staff voted overwhelmingly to get rid of her. But it seems as though they voted to keep her for more frustration and for her not to elevate the staff when they need to be elevated. You Congress continue parading on social media and catch flights. Just remember, elections will always and must come again. What kind of minister do not interact with their staff, especially who has so many grievances? Congress, Drew, your aunt, and Labour needs to go, and they need to go now. Thank you, Patches. Reads this email. I'll dispense up these emails. Bear with me, callers. Marshall Henderson, our Central Basseterre elected representative. What are you doing about these bad roads in Central Basseterre? They are getting worse, especially Spot Street and the lower part of Upper Market Street just before you meet Brooks's Rum Shop, now converted into a Chinese supermarket. Show some respect for the former Governor General man, who now lives right in the center of these deplorable roads. It is unconscionable of you, Marshall, to be treating Central Basseterre like that. If it was Marcella, she would have done it. My only regret is that I voted for you over Jonel. I'm very serious and unhappy with the way you are treating us residents of your constituency. Reads this other email. It's 16 before 9 o'clock. Lines are still open, my Straight Dog family. I'm just trying to dispense of these emails before we come to the crunch time. Mr. AG, it seems that you have a penchant for breaking rules and conventional practices. The first unprecedented decision that was taken by the legal department was to set a Sandy Point Labour woman free, who was accused of the death of her Jamaican boyfriend. The woman should have been charged and remanded until the case is tried. You cannot determine a case to be one of self-defense until a judge and jury decide based on the evidence presented in court. Not because he is a foreigner, Jamaican. His death must not end like that. The Jamaican national residing here must demand justice from the AG for the deceased and his family. My straight up family. Patches, it was good hearing a clip you played speaking on the wrong of the AG. That is what we need in St. Kitts, Nevis. Call out wrong when you see it, regardless of who you support. Reads that email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Yes, Patches, I'm back. The radical man is back.
Yes, sir.
Patches, something like what Jam don't talk about over on the beach. The prohibition of let's say free movement.
Prohibition.
Remember something like that happened over on the Caribbean seaside with the house and the beach. That's action to tell people you can't pass here and go down. So if you want to pass this house, you got to swim out in the water, go around them stone, climb up on the stone them and go over. So that's the reason why the house was built on the sand. Well, that is not only the reason, the only one reason, because I was told by many persons that the person who owned that house, they used to give certain person a certain amount of $1,000 for the board there. So that's the return. And I could see where you're coming from. Nobody have the right to bar off any beach. Whether Mr. Bradshaw say they can't do it, yes or not, the beach belongs to everybody. And anybody gonna do that, that is what I call dictatorship. So, big question supposed to ask of the ambassador that was taken from New York and put down in Dubai, because we were told by the leader why that individual was down in Dubai as an ambassador to see about the CBI program. And after a while we realized that individual was skipping from East to West Africa all over the place, afraid to come back here. I don't know if that was true, but that is what was said. But now that the ambassador is here, we need to know what happened to the money for the passport that was sold down there. Just like how the leader of the country here, Dr. Drew, he refused to answer the question correctly. When people ask him how many passports has he signed in his first 100 days, up to now, he can't come forward with the answer because he know definitely he has signed more than he will more than he present to people that he doing. And you know, he was criticizing Dr. Harris when he was Prime Minister talking about passport signing and selling. Well, in the first 100 days, he passed Dr. Harris signing up passport. He passed Dr. Simmons signing up passport. I wouldn't say he passed Dr. Douglas because Dr. Douglas had other people signing passport. So let Dr. Joe come and tell the nation how many passports he signed in the first 100 days and stop saying he ain't got the facts there. Stop it. He got facts for everything else. I know who did wrong and he gonna correct it and he ain't going there. So a lot of lies going on in this country. A lot of lies. And he condoning the wrong thing with the boy there at Wilkin. And we ain't gonna rest until he move from the office. We're not gonna rest. I'm gonna do what I could do to get him move from there. Whether I come mobile or immobile, he got to move.
Because me ain't gonna ease up, you know. Me ain't coward and me ain't afraid to talk. Once you're talking the truth, I don't care who it is. I do not tolerate lies and thieves. Nobody come around me and tell me any lie and thief. Anything that I got, I gonna carry down by Mr. Limo house. Go not jam down. That's it, let me give somebody a turn again, brother. Or you're getting more than emotion now.
Thank you very much. Again, there's no evidence that our passports was sold in Dubai. I know all the passports are to be controlled by the National Security, the Ministry of National Security. Yes, we hear these stories, but unless we can verify them, Straight Talk won't associate the program with them. A pleasant evening to you, Sir Patches. This present administration is having a ball victimizing plenty persons because there is no opposition to speak out against these things. The Honorable Premier is busy knocking glass with the Prime Minister and his team, so he has no time to represent the people as the leader of the opposition. We are in a very sad state and we are heading to pure corruption. Lord help us, reads this email. Good night, Miss Talibert. We were recently informed of the appointment of Bishop Cyprian Williams as ombudsman. Dr. Joe seems to be hell-bent on punishing St. Kitts. Cyprian Williams is a Labour Party activist, a big Labour man, as we normally say. What satisfaction can you get from him? He openly displayed his political bias and used his magistrate friend to prop him up. All of a sudden, it's okay for these pastors to be in these kind of positions. Pastor sucking Labour breasts. Labour breasts must be sore from all them pastors sucking them. The basic function of an ombudsman is to investigate and report on complaints against public authorities. The ombudsman's role is to investigate complaints that individuals have been treated unfairly or have received poor service from government departments and other public organizations. An ombudsman resolves disputes from a neutral, independent viewpoint. Cyprian Williams is put in that post to stifle and frustrate complaints. Let them send him back to build. I don't think I need to read that portion of that in terms of that email. Agriculture is in deep trouble, reads this email. Farmers now saying how Samal spent his time encouraging his peers to mash up the department and disrespect the former directors and peers, and now he can tell him anything. Anytime farmers complain to Samal about Miguel, he run tell Miguel, and Miguel laugh at us. Anybody who disagrees with the peers gets victimized, even if it's a worker. You have to grease these people's hand to get assistance. It was pure spite that Dr. Pacer was sent home. Miguel and Samuel did not care about the livestock farmers. Once they punished Pacer for not supporting labor, they did not care who get hurt. The Pace has his own farmer and is in a partnership. The greenhouse project was outlined to us since Tim was PM. A lot of the projects that Samuel talking about was already in place, like the new agricultural plan that Samuel playing like he did. This is the worst Pace we ever had, reads that email. Patches, tell Honorable Marsha Henderson that St. Thomas SVI started to build a new state-of-the-art new airport terminal that will have 10 jetway. What is she doing about the RLB St. Kitts Airport Terminal as was promised by her? We need to see even a photo image of how it will look. Also to Dr. Joe, St. Martin just started to build a 5 floors new hospital. When will the one in St. Kitts, as he promised, be built or start to construct? We need to see even the image or drawing of the look of it. If they cannot deliver, put Timothy back in office. Thanks, Patches, reads that email. It's now 5 before the 10 o'clock hour. I'll perhaps take maybe 2 more calls if before we close. At the same time, I'll just dispense of these emails. Good night, Patches. Drew continues to fire left, right, and center and victimize people who do not support Labour. Is this how the country is going to run for the next 5 years? Fire his enemies to hire his friends? Giving his friends big positions for the part they did in the election is the reason why JNF is in a mess. All his appointees can't add up to one. Please, people in St. Kitts, save your money for when you get sick to catch a plane. I was in the hospital for 2 days because of high pressure. I feel like I was in hell. Drew, Maynard, and Morton have the hospital run right down to the ground in 7 months. All who Drew give jobs are incompetent and can't talk to people. The directions of the hospital playing cartoon with people. The directors, beg your pardon, of the hospital playing cartoon with people's life. Nurses and doctors have no choice but to quit. Quit. No smart hospital can fix the hospital. Patches, we need help in St. Kitts. Reads this email. This other email reads, Patches, workers at the Department of Agriculture are complaining about the way the PS and the minister using blues to do all kinds of wickedness in the yard. Okay, let's find this. Patches, according to the PM, he has all experts in his government. How is it they can't get anything done in this country? All of the departments in the government are malfunctioning. The only thing they're good at is flying out of the country to visit their friends. They are not working for the country. All of them need to resign immediately and put back the country in capable hands, like Timothy Harris. For it is clear this set of people running the country don't know their head from their backside. They need to go now, and we had enough of them. Reads that email. And that's the final email I'm going to read. And I want to implore emailers, be careful with some of the things you write, because certainly I'm not going to read them. You're not going to malign anybody in your emails because you have the cloak of anonymity and expect me to read them. So I just beg for your understanding in that regard. Hi, Patches. Is it possible that Garth Wilkin can fill the vacancy of vet after he resigns or is fired from the role of Attorney General? My Shazok family, as we wind down tonight's programming, tonight our thesis we entitled Smart Agriculture, Food Security, or Money on Trees. And that is what the new Minister of Agriculture promised our farmers in St. Kitts. But when this will become a reality is everybody's guess. Crop farmers are crying out because the monkeys and weeds, while livestock farmers cannot find the vet to advise them on the proper care of their animals. The vet has been sent on long leave. We just learned tonight that 2 replacements are coming in a few weeks. The Federation's annual food import bill, that is, still hovers at about $145 million. However, the budget to help introduce this smart agriculture stands at a meager $25 million. And that may sound small to us, but say what you like. To Minister Duggins, it is more than adequate to satisfy the plans for agriculture in fiscal year 2023, which is designed, according to him, to ensure that St. Kitts Nevis will be part of CARICOM's conversation when it speaks to its successes by the year 2025. Whenever that conversation is had, the minister assured us that St. Kitts and Nevis will be a glowing example within the Caribbean region, just from that budget of $25 million, which the minister finds adequate, as I said to you, my Straight Talk family.
Budget for 2023, which stands at $25,143,820, is designed to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis will be part of CARICOM's conversation when they speak to the successes of their 25 by 25 agenda. And as your Minister of Agriculture, I stand committed to ensure that when that conversation is had, that St. Kitts and Nevis will be a glowing example.
My Straight Talk family, as we wind down, we listened to the prognosis, or we read the prognosis or the pronouncement from the World Bank. And we tried to put St. Kitts and Nevis within that particular context, that pronouncement which came from the World Bank. The Jew Labour Administration, remember, was introduced to the country as a serious team, one filled with experts. And this is exceptional, as I mentioned earlier. But the government, with all these experts, perhaps is the reason why in their new day and better way, everything they deliver is smart. Yes, we heard about smart housing. We heard as well about a smart hospital. And we heard as well about a smart agriculture.
I believe that a modern and fully equipped hospital with efficient trained staff is long overdue. We are seeking to construct a smart hospital. This is a necessity, not a choice.
We heard as well, my Straight Talk family, as I said, about smart agriculture. And that involves a project of greenhouses.
We have designed a wonderful project. And I must say, I give some credit to my good friend and member opposite, who would have started in his own way to install some greenhouses. And we would have seen some improvement subtly in that approach. I also must give credit to the former Labour administration, who would have designed and built out a project of some, I understand, almost 30 plus greenhouses. But in studying all of these projects, Madam Speaker, I recognize a significant flaw. And that flaw is that our country now has some near 40 structures, but only 4 to 7 actively going. And so we've taken all of that knowledge and all of that data and formulated a plan.
My Straight Talk family, we address the promise of the ministers tonight, smart agriculture and money on trees. We obviously address the disconnect as well between the minister, the ministry, and the farmers. What are the farmers saying? Has the minister communicated his ambitious plans with the farmers? Did the minister engage the farmers about the prospects of picking money from marijuana trees? Because the farmers were told that once the marijuana industry is up and running, they'll be picking money from those trees.
Marijuana industry, as we have heard, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we have been dragging at a snail's pace in getting involved. And I could not understand for the life of me why. Literally growing money on trees. But yet somehow, we don't want to participate. But I dare say, that era is over. And it's now a new day. And a better way. So in 2023, expect a vibrant, thriving marijuana industry. Literally growing money on trees.
And not a laughing matter, because the farmers are obviously not in the loop, or they would not have been waiting for the herbicides to control the weeds and bush on their farms.
The farms, they're full of bush. And nothing the farmer could do. You got, some farmers got 10, 20, 30 acres. What you gonna do, weed it? There is no supplies to take care or assist the farmers in the weed. It is serious. Agriculture department has nothing. The only thing they're selling up there is the donation of fertilizer from Morocco.
And my Straight Talk family, it couldn't just be about marijuana and money and trees. The country needs to know about food security. I made mention of the World Bank report. And we looked at the recent report. St. Kitts and Nevis is part of the Caribbean, which is an import-dependent region that continues to feel the socio-economic strain of COVID-19. And this was compounded by the war and conflict in Ukraine. My Straight Talk family, the number of people estimated to be facing moderate to severe levels of food insecurity in the Eastern English-speaking Caribbean rose by an alarming 46% over the last 6 months. Leaders in the region are actively engaging with decision makers across all relevant sectors to identify solutions for increasing food production and reducing import dependency within the region in order to reduce the cost of food. What is our leader doing? Is a question we also ask.
Or we have to start producing more food. Imagine during the height of the COVID, when the then Prime Minister was asked about food, he said the boats are coming. If persons had the opportunity to listen to the budget debate, Minister of Agriculture talked about shade houses, spoke about helping farmers to make sure they produce food. So we are looking at it to make sure that we just cannot depend on, because you can only cut to some extent. We are importing inflation. And what we have to do in this time to make sure that people can eat and live, we will do. It will cost a lot of money, which I will level with the people with. Because when we temper the cost of living, it is because the government has to invest a significant amount of money. And we have to appreciate that as well.
My Straight Talk family, no matter what Dr. Drew said, the boats are still coming. And they will be coming for a long time, every Monday, every Tuesday, and every Wednesday. So nothing has been achieved in the area of food security to date under the Drew Labour administration. The focus of the minister, as we must have gleaned, is on greenhouse villages and marijuana. But was this plan discussed with the farmers' cooperatives? Of course not. My straight dog family, we talk about money on trees. What about the sweet potatoes and other crops? What about livestock? When will the minister meet with all farmers and farmers cooperatives? St. Kitts or Straight Talk is following a serious breakdown in communication between the Minister of Agriculture and the farmers on St. Kitts in particular. The farmers are crying out daily.
If you look at the administration, look at what's going on in agriculture. The farmers are crying out daily for chemical herbicide. They're crying out daily.
My Straight Dog family, perhaps I suggest the Minister of Agriculture and the ministry can restart dialogue with all the cooperatives before the sweet potato melee. I told you about the sweet potato melee that will be on the agro strip on Friggy Bay Road come the 6th of April.
Boy, look like me sweet potato and coming in time, boy. For sweet potato melee.
Sweet potato melee? What do you mean sweet potato melee, Clark? But where you live, boy? Where you not think it's from a stop a big sweet potato melee up the strip? Where you live? When?
Man, it gonna happen on the 6th of April from 9 in the morning till 6 in the afternoon.
Keep up the way of your sweet potato, and we're gonna add value to all of our sweet potato. We're gonna have sweet potato wedges, sweet potato conky, sweet potato pudding, sweet potato cookies, sweet potato pumpkins, everything.
And don't forget the drinks. I mean, wait, all the hotels and restaurants, even the bakeries, to take part.
So what? If I come, you mean that we could sample them?
Yes, man. You got a load of things up there to eat and drink, you know. So you just come along and bring your friends and your neighbors. Sweet potato melee, 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 sweet potato melee.
Yes, that sweet potato melee just may be the only opportunity available for this important ministry and the minister to start that dialogue that will put St. Kitts Nevis in a state of self-sufficiency in agriculture. It must start with dialogue amongst all stakeholders if we are going to introduce smart agriculture, food security, and our money on trees. That's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I'm not going to change it. My time is done and I've got to run. I want to first of all thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the callers, all those who sent emails, those who listened on the live, looked and joined us on social media, YouTube and Facebook. Remember, my Straight Talk family, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liebert, and God's spare. We will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet. Go to church, do your chores. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
apply.